Cooking at home can feel repetitive, as we generally stick to the same set of recipes that we feel comfortable with. If I were to tell you there's one key step you're not taking that could fix your home cooking boredom without having to learn new recipes, spend more time in the kitchen, or do loads of extra work, would you know what it is? I see so many home cooks not taking this step, and if you're one of these people making this mistake, then this is your chance to do something about it. So in this video, I'm going to show you what this simple step is, how any level of home cook can apply this to their own recipes, and give you 3 examples of everyday home cooked meals using this method. First, let me show you an example of when I didn't take this step and the huge change it made when I did. This is a plate of sausage and mash, a pretty normal meal in many homes. Nothing appears to be wrong with this meal, but as I'm sure you can imagine, eating this looking the exact same way again and again and again and again and again and again and again. This will get boring after a while, not only for you, but also for the people you regularly cook for. So why not change the way you put the food on the plate? And I don't mean like restaurants in the 80s. Instead, we could make it look like this, or even this, with no extra time spent in the kitchen or any extra dirty dishes to wash. It sounds good, right? Let's look at the mashed potato first. We can make a nice shape out of it using a serving spoon, lean the sausages up against it, and tuck the peas into that little nook that we've created. Then lastly, follow with the sauce and any finishing touches. All of a sudden, we've taken an everyday plate of food from this to this. Rather than just a splodge of mash, we've made a nice shape out of it. We gave the dish some height using the sausages, and doing this also gave us an area to put the sauce. This by no means will win any prestigious food presentation awards, but these little tweaks make for a better eating experience, as well as giving you a boost of creative enthusiasm about this simple day-to-day home-cooked meal. This isn't the only way this meal could get presented. We could also bring the mash into the centre of the plate, swap the peas for some roasted onion, and lay the sausages on top of that. This way of plating up is great for somebody who loves tons of sauce on their plate, like a moat of gravy. Making this rocher shape with the mash is easy. Just get a large spoon, these silicone ones work great, and scoop into the mash just like you're scooping a bowl of ice cream. Then do the same thing a few more times and use the rim of the pan to take off any excess potato. It will take a little practice at first, but once you get good at this, you could do some smaller ones dotted around the plate in all different shapes, sizes and patterns. Now, for the record, I adore peas, but they're a pain in the ass sometimes. They can make your plate look messy like you haven't taken any care, and they're not the easiest to eat with a fork. Usually, the best option is to box them in on the plate using other ingredients so they can't move too much. But since you're already using the masher, why not take them up a few levels? I like to drain them, add them back to the same saucepan with a dash of olive oil, salt and pepper. Heat that for 30 seconds to a minute and then just give them a light crush. It doesn't take much. You could also add fresh herbs, lemon, chili, butter. I'm just keeping it simple today with these off-the-shelf ingredients. Now you have peas that don't move as much, and this opens up a whole new world of possibilities for presentation. If you're roasting the sausages, why not roast some carrots alongside them? They take around the same time to cook. This can give you more variety of colours and flavours on your plate. You could cut the carrot lengthways like this, or why not roast it whole and slice it on an angle the same way as a sausage? A few simple tweaks and we've gone from this to all of these possibilities. Most home cooks look at their plate like this: a place for one thing, this place for the other thing, and this place for that one. Whereas chefs think about things like, how can I create some height? What item is sturdy enough to hold this ingredient up? What's strong enough to support this ingredient completely? How can I make the eating experience more enjoyable? And what tastes best with this ingredient? This one mindset shift will get you thinking about your meal in a completely different way. This will open up a door of creative inspiration, new ideas, and this might just be the one thing that stops you placing that takeout order and gets you in the kitchen cooking. Here are some guidelines to follow. Create some height on the plate where you can. Use sturdy elements like mash to hold other items on your plate. With ingredients that like to move, try to stop them moving or serve them separately in a bowl. Give some ingredients a zone to themselves. This works great with sauces. And finally, take inspiration from other visually appealing things. Let's take paintings, for example. They generally have a frame and sometimes a border as well. You can easily apply this principle to your plate, just keeping a clean border area around the food. These are just guidelines, not rules, so use them to get your food presentation confidence up, then let your creativity run wild. So how can we apply these guidelines to something simple like a plate of pasta that doesn't have many elements to work with? Let's take this pasta pomodoro, for example. This is how this meal could be served. Unfortunately, this just leads to a bad eating experience, as well as not looking very visually appealing. In some mouthfuls you'll get loads of sauce, and in others you'll get a fork full of dried pasta. We can easily do better than this. First things first, 9 times out of 10 I mix the pasta with the sauce. This can happen with homemade sauces, jarred sauces, cream sauces, whatever you want. Now, how do we create some height on the plate? We could build a mound of pasta in the middle by twisting the tongs as we lower the pasta and gradually let go of it. I want to add something else to this plate, but I don't want to cook anything else. So the obvious choice is some cheese. Let's just finely grate it over the top of the pasta. Some fresh basil leaves dotted around would look great, and maybe finish with a little extra virgin olive oil. Why not take it up a notch with a chili oil if you like a kick, or a herb oil if you don't? These few simple tweaks have completely transformed a simple plate of pasta from a 2 out of 10 at best to easily an 8. A slightly trickier but prettier way to serve long pasta is to use a carving fork. Just keep spinning it in the pasta until it's evenly wrapped around the fork, then place it on a plate and carefully slide it out. All these ways will look good in a bowl plate, on a large plate, in soup bowls, on rectangular plates, or just a regular plain white round plate. Use whatever you have. What about everyone's favourite, chicken and rice? Maybe served with some grilled sweet potato and a salsa of some kind. Most likely it would be served something like this: rice, chicken, veg and sauce. We could easily make this better by just bunching everything to the centre of the plate a little, maybe creating a border around the food with the sauce and some height with the chicken. What about slicing the breast, fanning it out and leaning it up against the rice? I like the idea of serving this meal in a shallow bowl and laying the sliced chicken over the top of the rice. Not only does this look clean and presentable, it also means the rice absorbs all those juices from the chicken. Then, instead of having small pieces of sweet potato, we could cut a couple of long pieces. I think this is called a yam in the US, but I'm not sure. What about some pickled red onions as a garnish for some acidity and contrast? With a few simple tweaks, we've gone from flat and uninspiring to a plate with some curiosity and a wow factor. Now, of course, cooking great rice is a whole subject in itself, and it can be a bit unpredictable to cook if you don't follow a few simple rules. So check out this video here to learn how to make perfectly cooked rice every single time.